ladies, welcome back. Today I'm excited to talk to you about 7 tips so that you can have a simpler Christmas, have a clutter-free Christmas. So let's just jump right in and get started. The first thing that I want to talk to you about really has to do less about things and more about your heart. So as you are going into this Christmas season and you're really feeling like you want it to be more simple, you want to have less clutter, the biggest thing I want you to remember is not to hurt people's feelings, because not everyone is in a place where you are where they're wanting to simplify their Christmas. Before we get into the actual practical stuff of having a simpler Christmas, I want you to keep that in the back of your mind. Remember that a simpler Christmas doesn't mean that you have to hurt people's feelings. It doesn't mean that your way is always the best way, or that the way that other people celebrate is not as good as the way that you celebrate, being more simple in your process and in your holiday shopping and decorating and all of that. When you begin to think about having a simpler Christmas, I really want you to remember your why. I want you to remember why you want to have a simpler Christmas. This is going to help you because as you're going through this time, especially if this is your first year of really paring down Christmas, there are going to be a lot of obstacles in your way, and you want to make sure that you remember why you want to do this, why you want to have a simpler Christmas. There's a lot of buzzwords out there about minimalism, and it seems like there's this broad spectrum of what minimalism actually is. There are some people that are on one side of only owning 5 things and not having anything on the walls and not having any paint on the walls even, to this side that is coming up that's a little bit more life friendly. You are wanting to simplify your life, but not to the extent that you are giving up everything that you own. So really keep this in mind whenever you're thinking about decorating for Christmas. If you want to have a simpler Christmas, that doesn't mean that you can't decorate at all. You can really find a nice balance between overloading your kids with Christmas and still keeping traditions, because we don't want to get rid of everything about Christmas. We want to celebrate. We want to make a big deal about Jesus' birth, about him coming to earth. But you can find that balance where you're not, maybe if you have 5 Christmas villages, maybe you just put up 1. Maybe instead of cooking 4 dozen cookies, you cook 1 dozen cookies. There's always going to be differences that you can make in your life to simplify your Christmas without giving up traditions. Almost all of us have a pain point at Christmas, and that is too much clutter, too many toys, too many gifts. So I wanted to give you a couple of tips today on how you can really pare that down and deal with the influx of gifts that you get. The first is to prepare for all of the gifts in advance. Start by decluttering your kids' room, and you can even tell them the reason that you're doing it. Tell them that they may be receiving some gifts at Christmas and you want to make room for them. That doesn't mean that you have to throw things away. At our house, I like to box toys up and put them aside. If the kids don't remember them, they don't even know what's in there, then after a while I'll get rid of them. But if they have that special toy that I didn't realize was so special to them, the box is still there. I'm not worrying about it. This isn't probably something that you hear a lot whenever you think about decluttering your house, but for me, I don't want to get so burdened down by not having any stuff, by this idea of minimalism, that I forget about the things that matter to my family. And for a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old, a certain toy or a certain stuffed animal might really mean something to them. I would definitely enlist your kids' help in this process. So as you're decluttering and getting ready for the holiday season, get your kids involved. Get them into their rooms, ask them what toys that matter to them, and I would definitely get rid of, a lot of those small things that maybe they get in Happy Meals or something like that, and really make room for nice gifts that they might receive. A tradition that my husband and I started last year with our kids is this idea of 3 gifts. So I think that we kind of pointed our boys towards the 3 wise men, but whenever we give them 3 gifts, we decide that 1 thing is going to be a piece of clothing, 1 gift is going to be a book, and then 1 gift is going to be a toy. They get something that they need, they get something to read, and something that they want. And this really helped us to pare down what we purchased and made it so it wasn't so overboard. It was just 3 things, really just 1 toy, And then they were really excited, and 3 toys was plenty for my boys. You may remember seeing Christmas movies where the entire living room is filled with toys and there's beautifully wrapped presents everywhere. It doesn't have to be like that. Families can enjoy the season and enjoy giving gifts to each other without going overboard. Now let's talk about the types of toys to purchase your kids, because that ends up being a lot of it. We are buying toys for our kids, and there are a couple of tips that you can use to choose toys that are going to matter, that are going to last, and aren't going to be overflowing your home with clutter. I would definitely avoid buying those cheap Happy Meal type toys. Those toys that are really on trend, that are the cheap plastic, that don't really involve imagination very much, and the toys that it seems like they're there just to get kids to buy them. I would really recommend that you try to stay away from the little trinket type toys, those toys that are really on trend. Maybe if your child has one, that is enough for them. Instead, try to look for toys that are going to spark your child's imagination. Maybe building blocks or a musical instrument. One year my husband and I bought our boys ukuleles. Those are things that you can purchase for a child that aren't going to really create a lot of clutter, but they are going to spark their creativity, and they can spend time enjoying those toys. Another type of toy that you might want to look into is consumable toys. Things like art supplies that kids can take, use, enjoy, and then they're done. There's not a lot of clutter involved. At the end of the day, having a simpler Christmas really means that you begin to focus on experiences rather than things. And this is something that we try to teach our boys over and over, that we love people and we like things. The same can be true whenever you are having experiences with your family. So you are choosing people over things. You're choosing experiences over stuff. That is going to create a simpler Christmas for you. Several years ago, my in-laws started a tradition where instead of giving gifts to all the adults, they decided to have an experience. So one year we went to a professional football game as a family. One year we went to an escape room. And we still get gifts for the kids, but it really makes Christmas a lot more simpler for me, because at this point in my life, there's not a lot of things that I have on a wish list. And so I might be difficult to buy for. At the same time, my father-in-law is really hard to buy for. So it makes it really nice to just have the experience and not have to worry about buying gifts. Now, if you want to give a gift and you have something really specific that you want to give, you can give that. I know a couple of years ago I made a book on Shutterfly. It was kind of like a children's book for my mother-in-law that had pictures of her grandkids in it, and it was a little story, and that's something that can be cherished, not something that just creates clutter. So if you have gifts like that, don't shy away from giving those kind of gifts. Make sure that you are thinking about the people that you're spending time with, and really just choose experiences. Some experiences might be making hot cocoa and drinking it together outside, going on a hayride, going caroling, making and decorating cookies, going to look at Christmas lights. You can make new traditions based on giving and serving and spending time together as a family. It doesn't always have to be about the stuff. So I want to really encourage you that this Christmas, as it's coming up, you don't have to be so focused on being a consumer. You can choose to spend more time in experiences, spend time with your family, and you are going to have a much simpler Christmas. I would love to hear from you in the Girl of Grace group. If you go there, you can share some of the traditions that you have that don't involve stuff, or maybe things that you do to make gift giving more special. I would love to hear it. I'll leave the link below for you. I will talk to you guys later.